Welcome to your Houston Rewind for July 3rd through July 7th. I'm KHOU 11 digital anchor Brandy Smith. We know catching up on the news can be a little overwhelming, especially in a city like Houston, where it just doesn't stop. So every weekend, we take this opportunity to fill you in on some of the stories you may have missed. Let's rewind. The headline was simple: man missing for 8 years found alive. The story of Rudy Farias took a lot of twists and turns throughout the week, but in the beginning, the community was celebrating what appeared to be a miracle. Anna Ruiz broke down what we knew on Monday.
Found alive after 8 years, Rudy Farias has been missing since March of 2015.
And thank God he's alive. I mean, this is one of the miracles that you don't experience very often.
He was last seen near his home, and just last week he was found here outside this church. Tim Miller was one of the dozens of people that have been looking for Rudy from the get-go.
We started out at his house where he disappeared from, where he was walking his dogs, and I'll never forget finding his backpack out in this empty lot, field and stuff.
And Houston police tell us they did get a call from family members in September of 2018. They had spotted Rudy living behind a family member's home, but HPD did not find him, and they could not provide the address for us. But after 8 years, a miracle. A Good Samaritan found him unresponsive outside this church. Neighbors say they saw when police showed up to the scene.
There was a person that were trying to wake him up. HPD couldn't wake him up, like he was completely out of it.
But police confirmed it was Rudy. In a statement, Rudy's mom said her son is now receiving the care he needs to overcome his trauma. She said he's currently nonverbal and is not able to communicate with them, but she will share more details as Rudy continues to heal.
Rudy's family is excited. I mean, they are over the moon. They're excited. But they're also worried. You know, Rudy's not doing well.
In pictures released by the family, you could see Rudy has cuts and bruises on his body. As you can imagine, the family is waiting for Rudy to heal.
Family members later told us they believed those photos were from 2012. We'll revisit this case in just a few minutes. Letters sent to women in Piney Point, Hunters Creek, and Bunkers Hill villages claim their husbands are cheating, and the proof is available for a price. Jason Miles talked to Memorial Village's police to find out what's going on.
Unwanted deliveries are showing up in mailboxes throughout Memorial Villages, where the police department suspects some may have gone unreported.
We think that maybe some of the residents may have seen them and just obviously realized it was a scam and discarded them.
A redacted version of the letter was shared with us, which is addressed to each recipient by name. It reads in part, quote, "I have hard evidence of your husband cheating on you with, I'm sorry, me," adding, quote, "If you are willing to make me a reasonable offer, I will send you all the evidence, and I've got plenty." The letter insinuates an affair led to a baby who needs medical attention and ends by asking the recipients not to tell their husbands. There's even a QR code which we've blurred, and police say you should never click.
I know we've had issues with a lot of mail theft, and we think that may be where it's originating from.
And police say there is an additional layer to all of this because of the actual person the scammer claims to be, a Fort Bend County woman who was contacted by two people who got the letter.
I am super flabbergasted and just shocked.
She doesn't want to be fully identified, but images of her driver's license and social security card are attached to the letter, both of which she says were likely taken in a recent computer hack.
I don't know if it's all the same person, but I have no idea who it could possibly be.
She hopes police track down the scammers.
I'm pressing charges. They should get every consequence possible.
Using her name to try and swindle unsuspecting wives.
Just a reminder, don't respond to physical letters or emails if they seem sketchy, and do not click on links or QR codes. Grace White spoke to one of the couples who received the letter. You can watch her interview with them in this article on KHOU.com. A Houston area teen hopes to inspire foster children through the gift of song. Grace White shared her message Monday.
Before you hear Peyton Riley sing, na, 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 you should know she's only 14, but she was born with an amazing voice.
Ever since I was young, I have loved singing. I would go around the house screaming at the top of my lungs. And so my mom one day, she was like, would you like to do singing lessons to get some of that energy out?
Her lessons started at 8 years old. But the life experiences that inspired one of her songs came much earlier, when her family decided to foster.
I just remember having this little person that didn't have anything.
She went to Nashville earlier this year to record a song she wrote called Love Heals.
Dear God, if you hear, will you answer a simple prayer?
The first time that I heard the song after she had written it, I just couldn't help but find myself in a river of tears.
Rebecca Smith founded the nonprofit Love Heals Youth to provide mental health counseling to foster kids.
There's roughly 9 group homes in Montgomery County, and the kids in the homes range anywhere from 11 kids to 30 to 40 kids.
Knowing there's a place where I belong, home.
After hearing Peyton perform, she invited her to sing for the children.
Trouble's what they labeled me, forgotten so easily.
And the other talent is that she's 14, so when she is with these kids, she's able to bring a whole new element that I am not able to bring.
Peyton's already been nominated for Young Artist of the Year by the Texas Country Music Association, and she has big dreams.
I would love to be like Lainey Wilson and Miranda Lambert and perform in front of thousands of people and just share my songs with the world.
But through her songs, she hopes to also open people's hearts.
People only think that foster kids are just the little ones, but there are old ones too, and all of them need help. There's no greater feeling than overcoming demons, knowing there's a place where I belong, home.
Love Heals will be released later this year. We celebrated Independence Day on Tuesday, but before the sun went down, city leaders issued a reminder, one that applies beyond just July 4th. Celebratory gunfire is illegal. Gerald Harris learned what the city was doing to make sure no one got hurt or killed on the holiday.
The 4th of July
I just want to see what these are.
can be a joyous time spent with family,
Oh, look, Daddy.
but can quickly take a tragic turn.
It's like you're in a war zone throughout the city of Houston.
Mayor Sylvester Turner is warning residents to not celebrate the 4th of July by shooting into the air.
It is illegal, it is illegal, it is illegal.
Commonly dubbed celebratory gunfire, HPD says it's properly called deadly conduct, and what goes up
must come down. And if you think that there's no hazard in firing into the air, you're just absolutely dead wrong.
In all of last year, there were 9 arrests for celebratory gunfire and 392 calls for services. Mayor Turner is approving additional overtime resources to HPD to help address the random gunfire.
We'll pay for it in order to crack down on what has become a serious problem.
The city will also have their shot spotter technology in place.
This tool is important to helping police respond quickly, to locate victims, to locate offenders, to locate evidence that's left behind.
There's a new mural along Westheimer in the Montrose area. It's lined with the faces of Americans who are being held behind bars in foreign lands. Ron Trevino explained how their families are fighting to bring them home.
God bless America.
On a day Americans celebrate freedom, the unveiling of a new mural calling attention to Americans whose families say are being held hostage or wrongly detained abroad.
We are here as Americans asking that other Americans be freed, that they be brought home.
The mural has the faces of Americans who have still not come home. A group called Bring Our Families Home is behind the effort. It was being put up by their family members and by others who themselves were once held abroad.
In my case, I spent 5 years as a hostage in Venezuela. So time is of the essence because every day that passes is a matter of life or death.
Toledo was a member of the so-called Citgo Six, Houston-based oil executives who were held for nearly 5 years in Venezuela. Jose Pereira was also part of the Citgo group.
Behind all these faces are families that are suffering. There is my wife. My wife went through a lot, and now today she's with me.
Journalist Austin Tice of Houston was abducted in Syria back in 2012. His parents are here, drawing attention to their cause.
We have not heard from him. We have not had any communication with him. August 14th of this year will be 11 years.
But they aren't giving up, hoping their son and others will be back home soon, celebrating freedom in the land of the free. Ron Trevino, KHOU 11 News.
A pool's an easy answer when you're trying to figure out how to beat the heat. If you don't have one, that used to make it a little more complicated, but now you can just rent someone else's pool. Anayeli Ruiz dove into this one for us.
Well, that's right. Much of the action is happening on social media. People are posting their pools for rental on Facebook. It's those hot summer days when many people flock to pools. But for those that don't have a private pool, not to worry. Families like the Martinez are now renting out their backyards.
My wife came up with the idea and she said, I think I want to start renting out the pool.
John and his wife Jennifer started renting their pool back in May. They live out in the Cloverleaf area, and so far they say it's worked.
June was, it's a hit and miss, but July it really started taking off.
They offer a 7-hour rental for a flat rate of $450. And yes, they even offer a private restroom.
You'll get this personal trailer right over here to it's empty right now and it's air conditioned, and we have the restroom set up inside of there. There's a refrigerator, there's a kitchen.
And for the Martinez family, this side hustle is just another way for this family of 7 to stay afloat.
We're a family of, we have 5 children, so I know how it is to be on a budget and you want to give it to your kids.
The Martinez ask for a deposit, and they also ask their guests to sign a waiver. So far, they say it's been no trouble. They actually enjoy having people over.
It's awesome, to be honest. I mean, everybody that we've had, they're so kind. We come, we'll check on them maybe once or twice, and just to make sure everything's going good, that they need anything, and they're always inviting us to, you want food, you want cake, and I'm like, no.
Well, the Martinez family actually rented out their pool today for someone to host their 4th of July party right here. They tell us most of their clients, like I said, are coming from Facebook. Some, though, are coming from a Swimfly app, which is like Airbnb, but for pools. And for those details, you can head to our website at KHOU.com. That application does offer hourly rates. Anayeli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
I promised we were coming back to this one. Wednesday, community activist Quanell X dropped a number of disturbing allegations about the mother of Rudy Farias. He alleges she locked up, drugged, and tortured her son for years. Grace White got reaction from family members who demanded answers.
I'm going to say I'm very worried about Rudy. Very worried.
Pauline Sanchez Rodriguez is fighting back tears.
I didn't want to get involved, but with my daughter, my oldest, says, Mom, come.
Worried about her nephew, Rudy Farias, after activist Quanell X held a press conference this afternoon saying Rudy hasn't really been missing for 8 years.
He kept saying, I don't want her to go to prison. I don't want her to go to prison.
Quanell says it was Rudy's mother, Janie Santana, that called him for help this morning. He says Santana asked him to come to this hotel where she and Rudy were planning to meet with Houston police. But when Quanell arrived, what he says Rudy told detectives was heartbreaking.
She would ask him to play daddy. She told him that he had to be the husband. She would force him to sleep in the bed with her.
According to Quanell, Rudy told detectives his mother hid him in her house, gave him drugs, and physically and sexually abused him. All while Quanell says she was profiting off his disappearance by raising money for the search.
I've never seen Rudy since the day he went missing.
Sylvia Lopez is another aunt who says over the years she even traveled out of state with Santana to look for her son.
She had me out there in California thinking that they had found somebody that looked like Rudy in California, and I went all the way with her.
Houston police didn't address those allegations on Wednesday, but they did on Thursday. That update in just a few minutes. They say their dogs were left out in the heat while being boarded, and now one of those dogs is dead. Dog owners in Klein want to know how this could have happened. Janelle Bluda tried to find out.
At 9 years old, Hal, an English bulldog, was staying behind while his family went on vacation. His mom, Demikia, says she boarded Hal at the Pet Suites Spring Klein on Louetta, where he was supposed to stay for 5 days. But on day 2,
when they brought him in, his internal body temperature was 108.8.
She says she got a call saying Hal was rushed to the vet and had to be intubated.
3 days, he was pretty much fighting for his life.
To this day, she says she still doesn't know the whole story.
He was left outside on this run for over an hour. I did get conflicting stories about how long it was.
But says she knows Hal was left out in the extreme heat, causing him to have heat stroke. He spent 3 days in the ER.
He's going to have long-lasting effects from this.
Demikia says she asked an employee how they would prevent this in the future.
And he told me all of this stuff that they're going to start doing, that they're going to do. And mind you, this was June 27th. And here we go. July 1st, it happens again.
Lucy, a lovable Ridgeback Greyhound mix, was dropped off by her parents at the same Pet Suites June 30th, along with her brother Einstein.
We were paying them for them to take care of our dogs.
Their owners, Clint and Jessica, say the next day they had just landed in California when they had some missed calls from the boarding facility. Clint called back.
Someone at the front desk answered and told him that Lucy and Einstein had been taken out at 10 a.m. for a potty break and had been left out a little too long. We were like, what do you mean? She was like, they were forgotten and found at 3 o'clock.
They say Lucy was found unresponsive and taken to an emergency veterinarian.
With a temperature higher than 109. 109 is how much their thermometer can reach.
Then they got a call from that ER.
And they let me know that Lucy had passed away from a heat stroke.
Jessica and Clint got the next flight back to Houston to say goodbye to their baby. They say Einstein was also taken to the vet, but so far he's okay. Today, they want answers and the surveillance video so they can all find out exactly what happened.
Justice for Lucy means protecting other animals and having there be consequences.
And hold the right people responsible.
So I just want to bring awareness that they need to be shut down. Definitely need to be shut down.
KHOU 11 reached out to Pet Suites Spring Klein by phone, email, social media, and in person. As I'm recording this, we've not received any comment back. We do know the Harris County Sheriff's Office is investigating. Some Houston ISD employees did not get their paychecks as usual by Wednesday, and they went to district headquarters to find out why. Sherman Chow reported on the lack of communication that frustrated those who were impacted.
HISD is one of the largest employers in Houston with some 27,000 employees. Typically, payday is Wednesdays, today. But the Houston Federation of Teachers says it got 25 to 30 calls this morning from folks who did not get paid.
Yes, we got calls starting this morning that their paychecks had not been deposited into their bank accounts, and those members were on direct deposit.
We reached out to HISD, who sent us this statement saying it was aware of the problem and was working diligently to resolve the technical errors. Now, electronic direct deposits come on Tuesdays, a day ahead of the official payday. And because of the holiday this week, they actually went out on Monday for those who did get them, like Rodney Hughes. Hughes, a teacher, said some folks actually came to HISD this morning to get their money.
I actually did. I saw it earlier today on social media that there were some issues, and then when I was just in HR, someone was there specifically for that. So,
trying to get like a paycheck, a paper check.
Trying to resolve the issue.
We spoke to other staffers who were not paid and complained they hadn't gotten any information from the district.
When we reached out to HISD, we were told that there had been a computer glitch, and that the employees would have the option of picking up a paper check today or waiting for a direct deposit tomorrow.
Thursday, new information and new twists in the Rudy Farias investigation. We heard from Houston police, who confirmed Rudy's mother lied about him being missing for the past 8 years. And we heard from family who finally got to see Rudy all these years later. Matt Doherty heard from one aunt, grateful to finally put eyes on Rudy.
Pauline Sanchez says after speaking with her nephew today, he wants nothing else to do with his mother. She says she believes the allegations that Quanell X made yesterday are true.
Get away from my house. Get away from my house.
Things did not start cordially this afternoon when the aunt of Rudy Farias showed up to this home in East Houston to pay her nephew a visit.
I want to press charges. She's not here. Where's the warrant for Janie Sanchez? Then come to my house when you got a warrant.
Pauline Sanchez told us Rudy is staying with a friend of his mother's, but when Pauline showed up at the house, the woman inside called 911 and refused to let her in the door.
That's what she said too. Rudy's in there, but she's not willing to speak to anybody at this time.
But later on, Sanchez's son was first allowed inside to see his cousin, and then Sanchez herself was eventually allowed to see him too. Okay, Pauline, so this was the first time you've seen him in how long?
Since 2015.
She says she gave him a blessed rosary from the Holy Land.
It was beautiful, very beautiful to see him. We hugged until I finally let go.
Sanchez says Farias will clearly need professional help for what he's endured. She told us her nephew is getting to choose where he lives for the first time and whether he wants to see his mother, Janie Santana.
He made the statement that he doesn't want to see his mom. He doesn't want to go back to his mom.
Sanchez says she did not ask Farias about it, but believes what he allegedly told activist Quanell X yesterday, that he'd been drugged and physically and sexually abused by his mother for years.
But if Rudy told Mr. X what in reality happened, everybody has to believe that story.
Janie Santana has not been charged with a crime, although her family says they would like for her to be arrested. Grace White is looking into why no charges have been filed.
If you've had a hard time keeping up, I understand. Since he was found on June 29th, Rudy's story has been complicated, to say the least. You can catch up via this playlist on our KHOU 11 YouTube channel. Thursday, investigators in San Marcos announced an arrest in a deadly apartment fire that killed 5 people back in 2018. One of those victims was a Texas State University student from Pasadena. Jason Miles revealed how investigators cracked the case.
Dad David Frizzell wore a photo of daughter Haley during a news conference today in San Marcos.
5 a.m. phone calls are terrible.
He recalled the morning he learned Haley was missing after this devastating fire at what were the iconic Village apartments.
Going to every emergency room, going to every hospital, begging for Jane Doe to be your daughter is an absolutely horrendous experience.
19-year-old Frizzell and 4 others died in the blaze, including 21-year-old David Ortiz of Pasadena, then a student at Texas State University. Investigators say the deadliest fire in San Marcos' history was intentionally set, allegedly by 30-year-old Jacoby Ferguson, who was arrested Wednesday on what would have been the 25th birthday of one of the victims.
What a blessing. And we are eternally grateful for all of those that kept looking and kept re-looking.
Officials credit a fresh set of eyes by the likes of the Texas Rangers and ATF with helping to identify Ferguson, who lived at the San Marcos apartments at the time, although they're not discussing a possible motive.
We have steadfastly maintained to ourselves, the victims and their families, and to our community that we believe this case could be solved.
Members of David Ortiz's family started a foundation in his memory which awards scholarships and smoke detectors to Pasadena Memorial High School graduates who attend Texas State. His father told me news of an arrest brings some solace, but the tragedy is still too emotional for him to talk about.
He told Jason that David's mother went to San Marcos for Thursday's news conference. Suspect Jacoby Ferguson is charged with arson, causing bodily injury or death. Not murder, because that would require prosecutors to prove he set the fire with the intent of killing someone. Thursday night, Houston police reassured the Asian community after a string of violent robberies. Zach Tawatari met one of the victims.
People who spoke to police tonight said they don't feel safe and sometimes feel like their calls for help aren't taken seriously. but HPD is trying to reassure them that's not the case. Watching the video of himself being attacked in late May, 66-year-old Tuck Luong relives the terrifying moments. Luong, who lives near Asiatown, says he was having car trouble when the suspect approached him. You can see in the video the suspect approaches Luong and grabs at Luong's backside. Luong resists, but ultimately the robber gets away. According to police, the suspect took off on a bike. Luong says he's been left with injuries. Tonight, Houston police and elected officials addressed the Asian community in particular.
There's a perception with the Asian community of crooks, thinking that everybody carries cash, so you are a target.
Ban 10, who's the first Asian executive assistant chief in HPD history, says the community needs to be vigilant and not be afraid to call in anything they perceive as a threat.
And the most important thing is, and use it often. I'd rather you call me on 10,000 things that's basically nothing materialized, but that's okay. At least allows the opportunity to look into it before something actually occurred.
And for Luong, he's without medical documentation that was in his wallet. And he, along with police, are asking for the public's help. And there is another town hall scheduled at the Chinese Civic Center in Asiatown on Saturday at 10 a.m. There is a reward being offered in this case. If you have any information, you're urged to call Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. Zach Tawatari, KHOU 11 News.
Take the family for a walk on the wild side at this week's Hidden Gem. It's run by the city of Meadows Place, but you don't have to live there to visit. If you love critters, this is the spot for you.
We're in the Meadows Place Discovery and Nature Center.
It opened up in 2018 and was just starting to build momentum when the pandemic shut it down.
But now it's becoming more popular.
For kids and their parents.
They can come and experience nature firsthand, many interactive activities. We have an exploration zone in the backyard, a big tree house, and 11 different species of animals that they can actually hold and learn about. We have corn snakes, water snakes, rabbits, guinea pigs, tarantulas, box turtles, giant tortoises, goats.
You can get really up close and personal with the critters like Dan here, and let's not forget Thor.
He's the most precious little goat with a goatee, little blue eyes, very personable. The kids can go in the actual cage with them, brush them, interact. They love a good rub down their back.
The pen next door is home to giant tortoises Lilo and Stitch.
They also love to be brushed or bathed.
The center's backyard also includes a giant tree house and blacksmith shop to explore.
Inside we have a lot of imaginative play type things, floor puzzles, mix and match, scavenger hunts.
I mean, you guys truly have it all.
We do. We have a lot to do. And it's very cost effective. It's $5 for adults and $2 for children.
It's an affordable way for city kids to walk on the wild side.
Pack a lunch, bring the kids, and plan to spend a couple hours here with us.
No doubt you're looking for things to do around town this summer. We have literally dozens of ideas for you at khou.com/hidden gems. 3 men accused of attacking Uber drivers now face robbery and sexual assault charges. Anna Yeli Ruiz dug through the court documents to learn more.
We're talking 18 different charges for 3 different men, all under the age of 20. We're talking about aggravated kidnapping, aggravated robbery, and one of these men even being charged with sexually assaulting a woman. Take a look. These 3 suspects have been arrested for this 18-year-old Kenneth Kelly, 19-year-old Brian Dorsey, and 18-year-old Lorenzo Jackson. Houston police tell me they could not release their mugshots as they continue their investigation.
But we do have video of 18-year-old Kenneth Kelly in court. We blurred his face because we don't want to interfere with that investigation. In court, the judge said the suspects would call for an Uber, and court documents say they would allegedly pull a gun and force the drivers to go to different ATMs. In one instance, they went to a mini mart, and that is when that victim was able to make a run for it.
Uber driver then manages to convince the other guy that she needs to use the restroom. She goes inside the store, locks herself in the bathroom, and she waits there until you and the other gentleman leave in her Kia Soul. All of that supposedly is on video.
And again, that suspect you see here in probable cause court video, Kenneth Kelly, court documents say he's accused of sexually assaulting an Uber driver in June, and that is just one of several crimes he's being charged with. But according to court documents, some of these incidents started in May and then also in June. Now, two of the suspects have bonds already set. All three are still in the Harris County Jail. And of course, we hope to update you guys as soon as we get any additional information from the courts or even from Houston Police.
A Fulshire neighborhood shuttered its clubhouse after several people got sick with Legionellosis and one died. Janelle Bluda spotlighted what you need to look out for.
Nobody gave us any word. We had zero communications from anybody.
Frank Miller, a resident of the Bonterra at Cross Creek Ranch community, says they were all left in the dark.
The transparency is, for all purposes, non-existent.
After an outbreak of Legionella was found at their community clubhouse.
They had the normal bingo game scheduled here and expect 100, 150 people. This was known to them a week before. They didn't shut the place down.
The health department hasn't confirmed the exact source of the outbreak, but says they now have 4 confirmed cases and 4 probable cases of Legionellosis, which is one more than yesterday. Legionella is a bacteria that can grow and spread in human-made water systems like community pools. It can cause Legionnaire's disease, a very serious type of pneumonia. The health department says a person diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease has passed away, but they don't yet know their actual cause of death. Lawyers for the family tell us the person who died was Antoinette Marinchak. A friend who didn't want to be identified knew her as Annie, saying she was a lively neighbor who was always involved.
She was always at every card game, the games. She went on a cruise. She went on the casino trip. She loved life. She was full of life.
Miller says they were never told about the death. KHOU 11 News was also not initially told that someone passed away. We asked the Fort Bend County Health Department why that was not disclosed to us initially. Today they responded saying they have not received a death certificate that identified Legionnaire's disease as the cause of that death, saying it is very important that they do not share any information that might lead people to believe that an unconfirmed association exists. But Miller says they still should have told them.
Up until this moment, we haven't got zero notification that there was a death.
Road repair crews were busy Friday after drivers reported 2 major issues. Jason Miles showed us the problem spots.
It appears as if this hole has stopped growing for the moment at least, but we have seen it expand even since we've been on the scene. And I just learned from Houston Public Works that a 24-inch wastewater line may be the culprit. Let's begin with some video from Drone 11 showing the sinkhole and surrounding area. Now, it initially opened up in the right-of-way, a grassy area, and then expanded after it started as just a small hole. It grew into the roadway, becoming more noticeable this morning. Houston police first to respond to block off the northbound lane of Fondren. A nearby office building owner says that probably kept people safe.
They were on it before we knew it was happening. It was really amazing. As the hole was starting, and it was quite small, the police were here barricading it and doing their job. If they hadn't been here, it would have been terrible.
And there's some cell phone video shared with us showing part of the road crashing into the hole this afternoon. You can definitely see pipes and other infrastructure inside the hole, but again, crews are taking their time before making repairs. Houston Public Works on the scene, as well as a number of contractors. You can see it is well barricaded. I would suggest you find an alternate route because Fondren, between basically the area of Westheimer and Piney Point Village, is closed, but there doesn't seem to be too much of a problem traffic-wise, and Public Works says there is no interruption right now of either wastewater or drinking water.
Hope that helped you catch up on this past week and you're ready for the next one. Remember, you can tune into KHOU 11 on air, online via KHOU.com and YouTube, as well as by using our free KHOU 11 Plus app on Roku and Fire TV. Have a great week.